Hello and welcome back to Afterglow, episode 94. On this episode, we are joined by Keaton from the Secret Levels Discord, and we're going to be talking about our history and memories of Super Mario Bros. 2 on the original Nintendo. But a quick caveat before we go into it, we had some recording issues. There is some static in certain spots of the recording that I can't get rid of, so pretend I recorded this on old 1950s equipment because that's kind of what it sounds like. Sorry about that, and hopefully we can get it corrected at some point. But barring that, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. We're going to check out some music before the game before we roll with our discussion of it. And welcome back. As of right now, I'm being joined by Keaton, but our Discord channel is wide open, so we might see some other people joining in as we go. How you doing tonight?
I am doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Waiting on all the snow and ice to melt down.
Yeah, we got, fortunately, most of it's gone here. Although I did get a relaxing weekend last weekend, whether I wanted it or not.
No, we still got a mountain of it outside.
Yikes.
That's all good. So, we're discussing Mario 3. So what was, or not Mario 3, I'm sorry, Mario 2.
Okay. Give me a second for my heart rate to get back to normal.
Oh god.
All right, please continue.
So, what was your...
I was blessed to have it as a kid. Got it when I was, I don't know, still single digits, 8, whenever it came out. See, I was born in 82. It came out in, I don't know. So I would have played it when it came out. So I was, I don't know, 5, 6 maybe? Something like that.
This one was the game that I had gotten through borrowing. So I didn't actually own it, but I did swap games to have it for a little bit.
Nice. So how did you like it back then? Do you remember?
Yeah, even back then, I'm here like, well, it's prettier than Mario 1, but gameplay-wise, I think I prefer Mario 1. and to this day, I prefer Mario 1 and Mario 3 over Mario 2. Mario 2's not a bad game by any means. It's a very, very good NES game. I just felt like it was... I know the story. Everyone knows the story about, it's a reskin to Doki Doki Panic. Even back then, I'm here something... There's something that's missing that most Mario games have. Does that make any sense to you?
It does, because just like Zelda 2, it's this features the main character that I know and love, but the gameplay is completely different. And that is definitely the case for Mario 2, because the first thing you do is you jump on a Shy Guy, and it doesn't die. So everything you know about how to beat these enemies is gone within seconds.
Right, and those things that you have to change, they return in Mario 3, which just makes it that much more different.
How so? You can jump on enemies in Mario 3 and kill them.
Right, but in Mario 2, you don't kill them. In
Oh, I see
Mario...
you meant they return in Mario 3 as like Mario 1. I got what you're saying. I thought you meant the mechanics return from Mario 2.
Right, no, the mechanics in Mario 1 and Mario 3, like, they have similar gameplay mechanics, whereas 2, again, you're not pulling up on the ground in Mario 3. You're not grabbing enemies and throwing them over your... Mario 2 is the only game I can think of in the series that has those kinds of mechanics.
That brief stint when Mario stopped being a plumber and became a gardener.
Yeah, that's really different, right?
Very different. Oh.
And again, it's one of those games, I never thought it was a bad game, but even back then, it didn't fit in the Mario series for me.
I can definitely see where you're saying that from a gameplay mechanics purpose, but the ability to play is Luigi and Toad and Peach, and they're all different. That is so cool.
It's a really nice change, like to be able to have like different gameplay based off of what character you have, and I wish that is something that we would have seen more of, other than the weird thing where every game after this, okay, Luigi, but he has a little bit more floatier controls, which is very weird because in lore, Mario is known for his jumping ability, yet it's his brother that actually has the more powerful jump.
That's why Luigi's awesome. He doesn't mind to take a back seat to his brother. Mario's like, look, I got this cool jumping thing, and Luigi's like, yeah, bro, you're great. You're great at jumping.
And then you've got the princess who can more or less float for a while, and then you've got Toad who is really good at...
Toad does not skip leg day.
No, he absolutely did not. I kind of wish that that's something that kind of would have continued a little bit, though. Like, we always get Mario and Luigi from here on out, for the most part, outside like Mario 64. But I kind of wish we would have seen maybe some different selectable characters in later Mario titles. But I also wish that they... more than the Mario characters in Mario 2 to make it more of a Mario game, because all the enemies are also unique to Mario 2 for the most part.
Well, sure. He's not in the Mushroom Kingdom. He's in the land of Subcon, which is a land of dreams.
Right, but whenever you're dreaming, do you happen to dream of totally different stuff that's outside of your normal world?
No, but I'm not going to the land of dreams. I'm just going to, like, some weird blend of the college I went to, but it's connected to the camp that I went to growing up. So, yeah, and for some reason, like, Gorbachev is hanging out doing a speech there, and I'm just like, all right, all of this makes sense.
But, like, I always found it weird that there's, like, a few Mario things kind of planted in there. Like, every once in a while you can find a Koopa shell. You'll find... you can throw. And then if you pick up enough cherries, I believe a star will pop up.
Yes.
But outside of those two particular items, there's not a lot here that's holding you into Mario Brothers. Maybe the mushroom, if you go into the I guess in Game University subcon areas, every once in a while.
Sure, doesn't everybody keep their life-giving mushrooms in their shadow realm?
Man, I mean, how did you find those as a kid?
Nintendo power.
100%
Nintendo power.
That's the only way, because, like I said, I would have no clue where to look. For as large as the stages are, for as few spots have those mushrooms.
Yep. They're usually nearby, but sometimes Sometimes nearby is a very loose term.
Like, I knew to look for patches of grass whenever I had the potion that makes the door. That way I could get the coins for the bonus slot game. But that's about my only clue I had to hunt down mushrooms.
So speaking of random things in Mario games, the bonus slot machine. What are your thoughts on that?
As a new thing, it was cool. I prefer how later games gave the bonus games a bit more of a skill thing than just to randomly hit the button and hope for the best. Like, for the first outing of a bonus game, it's fine.
Yeah, I loved it as a kid. Absolutely loved it as a kid. You just sit there and you just hammer the button, and sometimes you get the thing like, hooray! But playing it yesterday for the podcast, yeah, this is really just very random and not like when I was a kid. I always played Toad because that's how you got the most. That's how you got the most coins for the game at the end. And I was like, this is not worth playing as Toad. It's so much more fun to play as Princess Peach or Luigi because then you can explore different things.
I would constantly hammer the button down just to burn through the credits real quick rather than try to time it. So, every bonus game you would...
Yep. I am very familiar with that sound and I do not like it.
But yeah, I mean, Mario 2 for me is one of those games where it was an enjoyable game. It was fun, but it didn't hit the heights of Mario 1 and Mario 3 for me personally. And I know I'm in the minority on that because there's a bunch of people that love this game. But even before I knew it was a reskin of Doki Doki Panic, I'm like, it's alright.
See, that's the thing though, is it's... And like, the fact that you didn't like it as much as 1 and 3 is because, that's perfect. It's an opinion. And 1 and 3 are great. And they have a very gameplay that is completely different than 2. But man, there is so much cool things about Super Mario Brothers 2. The explorer, it's in 1 and 3 gave you exploration. There are different ways to solve 3. You could do the flying thing and find stuff in the clouds. But 1, there wasn't a lot of exploration there. And 2 gave you that. And it gave you puzzle solving in a way that 1 didn't either. There's the one level where you got to figure out, like level 1, 2, where you have to figure out, jump on the carpet guy, knock him off his carpet, and then fly his carpet across the gap. And there's the level later where you have to figure out, you have to ride Birdo's egg across the gap. And the fact that with Princess Peach or Luigi, there are different times where you can just skip half the map if you know what to do.
Yeah, there's also a way to where if you use the potion to go into a subcon area that has a pipe in it, you can actually use that pipe to warp. I think there's at least 2 of them.
I know there's 2. I know that in the first world you can get to the 4th. I forget where the other one is. But I would mostly just go from World 1 to World 4, which in hindsight doesn't make a lot of sense because I hate World 4. Like, it's bad enough with trying to play Luigi on normal friction levels. You throw in snow friction levels and Luigi's just all over the place.
Let's see, I used a trick. I want to say it was World 2, because I think World 2 had some ice physics stuff going on too, didn't it?
That was the desert level, but I think... Yeah, I kind of went from World 1 to World 4 last night. I didn't... Apologies, dear listeners of Afterglow. I didn't have a lot of prep time.
No. A little before this anyway. But I remember the ice physics being extremely slippery. Like, I could get a running start and then just not touch left or right in the controller and just use the slide mechanic to duck and jump to dodge enemies. They had those little pitchfork-looking dudes I want.
Oh, yeah, I hate those guys. Those guys are the worst.
Right. Like, I would use the ice physics to just get a running start and then do nothing but dodge to the end of the ice physics to slide all the way to the very end of it.
Yep. Oh, okay, that is kind of fun. It's hellacious, but it's kind of fun.
Right, and I think immediately after that you had the section with the whales.
Yep. Good old whale level.
And somehow, for some reason, in that level, that's the one that would mess me up a little bit, just because I'd continually fall to my death in that one.
Okay, that level gives me heart palpitations. Like, there's so much precise jumping, and that game is not that good with precise jumping.
Right, especially depending on who you choose. Like, Toad is definitely more of a precise jumper, in my opinion, than, like, let's say Luigi in it.
Yeah, Luigi's definitely got some slipperiness to him. I think you might be right about Toad having the best jump rate, or it could just all be in my head.
I feel like he sticks to Link.
Like, that's the kind of thing you bring in Peach for, because she can fly for, what was it? 1.5 seconds was what I heard from the Secret Levels podcast episode.
Yeah, somewhere in that area, yeah. And I used her a lot to the point where I felt like I was cheating, because I would just constantly be like, I'm not messing with that, I'm gonna fly over it.
It's not cheating if it's mechanics. And I love the fact that her flight ability is now canon. It is in so many other games. I want to at least it's in the Paper Mario ones where you get to play as her.
Which makes you wonder how she constantly gets captured by Bowser so easy. Because canon-wise, she's on the top floor of the castle, like, just jump and float off.
I think she just likes the attention.
Maybe so.
It's a break. It's a break. She's being the princess. She's got to make all these decisions, all the ruling things, and like once every couple of years, Bowser come along and kidnaps her, and she's like, "Cool, can't worry about any royal decisions now. I'm sorry, guys, kidnapped."
Sorry, Toad, it's your problem.
Yep.
Now, you had talked about the sand level a little bit. That's one thing I did kind of. I liked, but I didn't like, was the ability to dig through all the sand. Especially since in later sections, I remember there's like at least one point to where you can dig to the bottom, and then you have to like go down another path.
Yep, I remember that. And original troll level stuff right there. No, I'm glad you brought that up though. As we know, one of the cool things about Afterglow is the personal memories that we talk about. And so this was one of the games that my mom would play. She didn't play a lot of Nintendo games, but this one she would play. And she loved the sand levels, because she loved going down there and just ignoring all the enemies, ignoring the mission, and just digging pictures. And she loved to do checkerboard patterns, or just like smiley faces or other things. She just loved to take the time and play in this literal sandbox and just do some goofy creating. And, looking back on that, that really makes me smile to this day.
That's neat. I liked the digging mechanic, but I would get frustrated if I was trying to dodgy in me, and then all of a sudden I'm 6 rows above where I was. It's like, oh god, I gotta dig my way back down.
Yep, it's rough. And I think, and I could be mistaken, but I think there's one point where you are trying to carry a key and dodge the mask while digging.
Which the mask, it's easily like a prototype horror game thing, and I don't know why, for some reason, this mask is incredibly scary in this game.
Oh yeah, okay, so for those who don't know, whenever there are certain levels that have a locked door, and you have to find a key, and then you pick up and you carry the key back to the door. But as soon as you pick up that key, there's always a couple of masks on the wall, and one of the masks will come to life and just start dive bombing at you, and it will not stop as long as you hold that key. And it is just, when you're a kid, it is just traumatizing. If you're familiar with Mario 3, it's like the sun chasing you in the one desert level, but it's just worse because you got, like, what's going to hit, because you're going to pick, like, I'm going to pick up that key and that mask is going to come to life, and it's going to start chasing me. And it shouldn't be as scary because the key is a weapon, and you can use it to smack other enemies. But it's just like always there. It's like if I pick that up, that mask is going to come back and start chasing me again.
And what's funny is that you can drop the key, and the mask don't return the key.
Nope.
Key again.
It's just waiting for you.
So, what do you think of the bosses in this game?
I love their look. I love the style, the overall cartooniness. Like Mauser's great, Triclyde's fun. Claw Grip is kind of cool, but seems a little odd choice. And I want to say it was like Mauser's the thing was throwing bombs back, and the other ones were all about smacking them with the mushrooms, right?
Yeah, and that is one thing that I will give this game above Mario 1 and Mario 3. The variety of bosses and the variety of techniques you have to do to take down the bosses. You're not just knocking them on the head.
That is a good point. I don't remember them very well. But I remember having fun playing them. It's kind of just, like I was having fun, and he's dead, and that was a little disappointing. Like, you're happy to win, but at the same time, I was like, that was a really neat thing, but it's gone after just like a minute.
There, at the end of every level, there's a bird mouth that you go into to exit the level, which again feels weird for a Mario game. But there is one in particular that will actually attack you before you can go through it. Did that one get a cheap hit on you?
Nintendo Power warned me about that, and in hindsight, I regret that because that would have just blown my mind. Like, that's kind of one, again, the really cool, like, creative trolling. You're like, oh yeah, you're going to go in here. No, you're not. This thing's going to just start attacking you. The thing that you thought was safe, the thing that you thought was victory, is now coming after you. And now you have to kill it.
I was the type of guy, after taking out the Birdo enemy, I would run up and wait in that mouth to open. So I immediately took damage. What?
Oh, sure, if you don't know it's coming. Yeah. Like, I'm surprised it didn't straight out just kill you as you're just sitting there going, what? What is going on? And then it's like, oh, doot. Oh,
right. Thankfully, I had a couple spare hits left because the Birdo enemies, most of them are fairly easy. Just, return the eggs that they throw at you, and for the later ones, dodge fireballs that they throw at you.
Yeah, again, I love that. I love how Birdo gets more difficult as it goes along. And at first, it's pretty safe. But then, like, there starts to be gaps appearing, and now Birdo's shooting fireballs. And like, there's even one where she's just only shoots fireballs, and you have to get mushrooms to attack her, like the power mushrooms to attack her. Just like, all right, Birdo is just getting more and more difficult, and as it goes, and that's just really cool.
But one thing that kind of threw me off about this game is, again, you don't see much about Mario 2 after, like, the back. Unless you're playing Yoshi's Island, which is another kind of weird one. Why would they be in Yoshi's Island, but not later Mario games?
Okay, there are so many interesting lore in and spawning from this game. It's, yeah, like, it's Mario, right? So in the end, all of the people like myself, trying to make lore connections, it's just silly. It's literally just, this looks neat, let's do it. This sounds fun, let's do it. This is creative, let's do it. But, yeah, I do love, and sure, like, Shy Guys are in the Paper Mario games, and the Yoshi's Island, but not Dinosaur Island, where Yoshi lives.
Right, it's kind of bizarre to me how we only see him in really spin-offs. We don't see the Shy Guys again in any mainline game, which, like Mario enemies, you think the Koopa Troop, but apparently there is another Shy Guy army that we just don't see much.
Oh, I mean, all right, so to be fair, part of that is on us. We have just complained about not seeing an enemy literally called Shy Guy.
Right.
They're not going to show up unless they have to. They're very shy. They're probably there, but they're just cowering behind a pillar going, oh, yeah, I'd love to get out there, but no, I'm not leaving the safety of this little pillar. There's a bunch of viewers out there.
And then we also don't see the Mouser. We don't see Warts. We don't see Triclide.
I would love to see Mouser, Wart, and Triclide more. I want Wart to be the enemy of some game, like a Paper Mario or one of those Mario RPGs. Anything where he just comes up and he's like,
been a great choice for the Mario Land series.
Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, it's me, Wart. What do you mean you forgot?
But now we've mostly had Bowser ever since, which I think's fine. But again, it just makes this game even more of that odd feel for me that doesn't fit in with the rest of the Mario games.
That's yep. That's absolutely true. Although he does fit in with Zelda, though.
Right, it's very odd.
Because Wart, before he turns evil, shows up in Link's Awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that Wart is the reason that Chain Chomps are running around the Mushroom Kingdom.
Well, it kind of fits with the whole Link's Awakening thing, because once again, it's, Link's in a dream in that entire...
Exactly. So if you'll indulge me a second, while I over-exaggerate and over-explain on this theory that I have. So, Chain Chomps in Link's Awakening are pets. Like, you visit the village, and there's one that keeps a Chain Chomp as a pet. Its name is Bow Bow, I think? It's adorable, it's cute, it's got a little bow. And so, now that we've established Chain Chomps live in this dream, and they are pets. So then we jump to later in the game, where you see Wart, except he's calling himself Manu, and he's got his band. And they are going on tour. So, you talk to him, you learn his song, and when you go back, he's gone. He has left to go on tour. Then, Link wakes the Windfish and ends the dream, thus destroying Manu's homeland. So, I'm thinking that he left one dream to go to Subcon, which is another world of dreams, to perform his little song with his band. He's on tour. Only when he goes to back, his world no longer exists. It is destroyed. He can't go back. So now he is stuck in the world of Subcon. And he probably, because he was on a tour, brought his roadies, and somebody brought a pet Chain Chomp or two. And now that he can't go back, he slowly becomes evil. He's not a person who likes vegetables. He grew up with fruits and fish. He didn't grow up with vegetables. He doesn't like them. They don't taste like fruit. They don't taste like fish. They don't taste like the food he's used to, but now they're all he has to eat. So yes, naturally he grows to dislike them. And he can't go back to his home. And he's stuck in this weird place with food that he doesn't like. And so he slowly becomes evil. And how he became a sorcerer and started casting spells, I don't know. And curses on Mario, that lore is very unclear. But we've established that he went from Koholint to Subcon, and he probably brought some Chain Chomps. And Mario enters through a door to get into Subcon. And I think that a Chain Chomp just went out through the door that Mario left, and now Chain Chomps are running around in the Mushroom Kingdom. And that's why they're so hard to kill. They are not a native predator. They are an invasive species. And that's why they're hard to kill, because Mario's stomps don't work against them. Fireballs don't work against them. All the things that Mario has evolved to defeat the predators in this land don't work, because the Chain Chomp is not a native predator to the Hyrule Kingdom. It all makes sense.
Now we just gotta get the actual timeline down of the Shy Guys and why they only appear whenever Mario's an infant.
Oh yeah, the Shy Guys definitely ruined my theory. What I want to do one day is go to like a big gaming convention and just take the time to print out little pamphlets that have that theory highlighted and explained, and then just like stand on the street corner handing out pamphlets trying to get people to know the truth.
Now, you need like a large chalkboard set up in the corner.
Oh man, like I want to do that one year for Dragon Con. And maybe get like a tinfoil mushroom hat. That would be great.
No, the theory does make sense. It's just, I wish there was more continuity with this game.
I do too. So many of those. So like, and I get the ninjas. Ninjas have come back a little bit. They show up in Mario Wonder, and a couple of other times. And they showed up in the Mario cartoon, which was really weird. The Super Mario Brothers Super Show. Also, while I'm talking about the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, Still Loading Podcast is doing a watch-along of every episode. So if you got fond memories of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, go check out Still Loading Podcast. Josh is a great guy.
I would honestly like to check that out for the timeline, because the Super Show came out after Mario 2 came out, but before Mario 3.
Yeah, like I think the Buzzies or the Fuzzies are in it, the little snowball things, and maybe some other enemies, but Wart is not there. It's always just Bowser.
Right.
So, I don't know, maybe Bowser overthrew Wart and took his minions, and that's why... But he doesn't like them as much because they're not his minions, or he's afraid that they'll betray him.
Speaking of which, we also see the Fuzzies in Yoshi's Island.
Ah, you're right. Okay, so there is definitely something that weird happened in Mario 2. I think Bowser may have killed Wart.
Although Fuzzy has a completely different attack impedance in Yoshi's Island.
Oh, those are the things that make you high, right?
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, dizzy.
Yeah, touch Fuzzy, get dizzy.
I think we might have cracked something here. Apparently, I think Bowser might have killed Wart and took over his minions, and that's why we don't see Wart anymore. But that makes sense, because like I still get the impression that Bowser and Mario aren't... I think that's like a lot like pro wrestling. Like, Mario's like, oh yeah, I'm the hero. Bowser's like, I'm the villain. But they go out and hang out, and there's free time. And I think these are just elaborate shows that they put on for just like the people of the realm. Like, hey, everybody's... nothing exciting is going on. Oh, wait, no, Bowser's captured Mario, and Mario's got to go to your kingdom to save the princess. Keep an eye out. He'll be running through the Iceland soon, so if you live in the Iceland, keep an eye out for Mario. But Wart was straight up trying to kill the dude. So Bowser's like, nah, that's not how we really play. Bowser's not afraid to get his hands dirty. He just doesn't want people to know that he's not afraid to get his hands dirty. Because everybody sort of thinks of him as that lovable villain. Like, oh no, rawr, it's Bowser, he's going to get me. Not realizing that it's like, oh no, Bowser's actually mad, he's going to get you.
See, yep, and that's honestly like how I feel about Mario 2 as a whole. Like, it's not a perfect...
Nah, you're 100% right on that. It's clearly not. It can be used for a lot of historical purposes, and on its own, it's a fantastic, fun game. You get a different playthrough playing with each of the characters.
Right.
Guess we really should bring it back to Mario 2, the game I just come here to talk about.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying. It's like, I'm not saying it's a bad game by any means. Feel it doesn't have even the Nintendo feel. The Mario game is made by Nintendo. It doesn't have the same feel. Not that it's a bad game by any means. There's plenty of good games for the original Nintendo that don't have that Nintendo feel to it.
I get what you're saying. And I think, yeah, it's not it's a I will say it's a great game. I do the soundtrack is phenomenal. The fact that you can play as 4 characters and each of one of them plays differently is incredibly creative. The boss fights are very creative. The progression of Birdo from just spitting eggs to all the different as dangerous as she gets later in the game is wonderful. It is a fantastic game in its own merit. But yeah, if you went to get the same experience as Mario 1, you are not going to get that.
So let's say in an alternate universe, we got both games. Like we got the 2, and we got Doki Doki Panic over here as like Super Arabian Nights or whatever you'd call it. How do you think that would change things?
That is an interesting question. It definitely would change things. It would not be nearly as well known. Although, now that's not true. That's not true. Because, in theory, Mario 2 The Lost Levels would have flopped. It probably would have. But a game didn't have to have the Mario Legacy name to become very popular. So I think it still would have shown through. Probably wouldn't be as well known, but it would still probably be well known and liked. As I said, it stands on its own merits.
Now, do you think that there would have been any issue modern day with the whole Arabian Night theme? That there is an NES game called Wampum that these days the subject matter of it is very questionable. Do you think we would have seen the same thing with this game with the Arabian theme, or no?
Probably not. The Arabian theme doesn't seem as sensitive in the States as the Native American theme. And especially with a game like Wampum, which just kind of sounds like a parody name or a little bit derogatory. And right. I mean, like, back in the time, I don't think that it was like called that out of malice, and I definitely don't think it was made out of malice.
Honestly, Wampum, in my opinion, is a pretty fun game.
I haven't played it.
It's kind of like Mega Man.
Yeah, see, that does sound like a very fun game. Mega Man is very good. But yeah, like Mega Man's a great example of it's not a Nintendo property, and it went to great heights. So yeah, I think it'd be sort of like a Mega Man theme, and that's what Doki Doki Panic was about. Was themed out. I don't know.
Do you think that if we would have gotten Doki Doki Panic instead of the Mario 2 skin version, do you think we would have seen a sequel to Doki Doki, or do you think it would have just been a one and done?
I think we'd have seen a sequel. I genuinely believe that as a game, it rocks. And I think that, like, sure, it had a really cool mechanic of 4 different characters. Not even Mario 3 had that. Mario World didn't have that.
Yeah, I would have much rather seen a sequel to it to have the universe expanded just a bit.
And so, yeah, I think it definitely would have got a sequel. More characters, probably. A couple of different mechanics. Maybe somebody with a projectile attack. Hard to say. But yeah, no. We'd be living in a world with more Doki Doki Panics and less Doki Doki Literature Clubs. I mean, not because Literature Club's a bad game, but because it would have just been weird to call something else Doki Doki.
Right.
Coincidentally, every time you've said reskin of Doki Doki Panic, I think you're going to say Doki Doki Literature Club. And a Doki Doki Literature Club Mario reskin, I don't even know what that would look like. I would be equal parts amused to no end and horrified beyond all reason.
Oh, that would be amazing.
You must choose between Princess Peach and Toadette and Bowsette. Who will love you? Who will you date?
Good luck. But yeah,
Oh.
like I said, but my brain has trouble attaching it to the same timeline of Mario 1 to Mario 3.
Sure, that makes
Although
sense.
I am definitely the guy for hot takes when it comes to old Mario games. Like, I know it's not as much of a hot take as me thinking that Mario 2 is not as good, but the other hot take is I still think Mario 3 is significantly better than Mario World. Not calling Mario World bad, but I feel like Mario 3 is definitely the
Hmm.
again hot take,
That
and I realize
that
that.
is that is an interesting take. I wouldn't exactly call it hot. Um, like what is what is your what is your reason for it? What is your logic behind it?
A lot of its level design. I think that Mario 3 has significantly better level design.
Hmm. Fair.
And
Fair.
Mario 3, even though it doesn't have as many levels as Mario World, I feel like Mario 3 game.
Well, yeah, that's because there's no save points. You have to play it in one sitting.
Right.
Ugh. Although, I mean, like now that you've got access to save features on the Switch, I don't know if that would still feel the same.
And I also feel that Mario 3 has more variety in it. You've got a lot more power ups. The worlds, all 8 worlds in Mario 3. Mario World, a lot of the worlds feel kind of samey.
All right, that's fair. Big Small World or Pipe World kind of stick to mind.
Yep, you've got your grassland, which is like your Mushroom Kingdom. You've got your
Hmm.
desert, your
Hmm.
waterland, your big small world, your iceland, your pipeland, Bowser's domain. I know I'm skipping one or two of them.
But yeah, no, those are some good points. Those that is, the worlds in Mario 3 are indeed very unique. Skyworld, I think that's the one you're missing.
Yeah, I knew I was skipping one, probably because I hate that world with a passion. But
I once, and I don't know how, but I failed the airship in Skyworld, and it drove off as they do whenever you fail the airship in that game. It just goes to somewhere else on the map. It's just a silly little mechanic, usually, just kind of like, look, the airship flew away. Haha, now you have to chase it. It's cool, very thematic, because you're fighting on an airship and airships should fly. But in this one case, the airship got stuck. It stopped between ground and sky,
oh
and I
no,
couldn't get to it.
oh no, I can't say I've ever had that happen. I have seen had where the ship has like taken off on me and it's actually gotten itself caught in between levels where I hadn't done them yet because I used like a cloud to pass over them.
Mm-hmm. That
That's
makes sense. I
one
can.
of those. So go figure.
Yep.
Now there's one
Uh,
point where I'll give Mario 2 the point as well. Uh, the more unique bosses I think I mentioned earlier, like in Mario 3, even though it has 8 different bosses, for the most part you beat them all the same way.
yeah, and although the Boom Boom mini boss, which I guess Birdo would be considered a mini boss, the Boom Boom mini boss does get some variety. At some point, he sprouts wings,
Mm-hmm.
so there's that. Um, I'm not even sure which point I'm arguing anymore.
I mean, mechanically wise, though, even though it eventually gets the ability to fly, you still beat it the same way. Just jump on its head.
That's true. That is true.
Uh,
It's
all the
all
all,
about that head bounce.
all the Bowser kids, same thing. Jump in their head, dodge the attacks coming from the wand.
Yeah, and outside of like the one that took place on the rock in the middle of the lava, I don't think those fights were very different. In fact, I might even be thinking of Mario World with that fight in the lava. I'm not sure. Um,
But yeah, I do really like the fact that you've got to return the egg throws for the Birdos, or you've got to try to time the bomb returns with Mouser.
yep.
With Triclide, you almost have to use those mushroom blocks to build a wall to.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
Building walls was fun.
mechanics a bit more Mario 2 for the boss fights.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think overall my final verdict is that it is a phenomenal game, but if you're looking for like a Mario game, you are not going to find it in Mario 2. You're going to find a really creative, a fun action platformer, and outside of the characters, though, yeah. And I guess it's important for like not a lot of the lore of Mario, but like seeing the characters in different how the game shaped the characters a lot. It's the first game where Luigi was canonically taller than Mario, and it gave Princess Peach her flight, and Toad being the buffest little fungus around sadly never came back in like the later games. He's just Toad, but then like in the later games, like Mario for the Wii and Mario Wonder, everybody played. Well, they mostly play the same. I mean, yeah, the Yoshis have the thing where they can't transform and they can't get hurt, which my little nephew loves because he is not that great at dodging enemies. But everybody else kind of plays the same. They don't get their unique abilities.
Right. And Nintendo had the chance to kind of bring it back because Super Mario Advance, the first one, was based off Mario 2, and they made some minor changes. I remember the first level had one platform that would spring up, and they had some just oversized versions of the standard enemies.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it was neat. For like an oversized enemy, the player would have to like work harder to lift it. There'd be a bit of a delay before it got it up in the air.
If this is on Switch Online, I'm gonna have to check this out. This sounds really fun.
Yeah, if you haven't played Mario Advance yet, like you really should.
Oh, one last thing that I do think is definitely worth mentioning is that the doors in the original Mario, I didn't understand that the white light triangle effect was supposed to be light shining through the door.
Mm-hmm.
It confused me to no end until it was released on Super Nintendo with the Mario. What's the 4 games in one called? All-Stars. Yeah. Once it was released in All-Stars, then it was made much more clear that it was supposed to be light shining through a door. Then it made sense. But at first, I'm like, I don't know why this door has a weird light triangle attached, or weird white triangle attached to it, but okay, it's the door I gotta go through.
Also, I did just check, and Mario Advance is on Switch Online.
Heck yeah! I know what I'm doing this weekend.
Yeah, because, like I said, it's a really cool version of Mario 2.
I'll check it out. Thank you for the recommendation.
Yep, like, out of those 4 games, the Mario Advance and Mario Advance 4 are the big 2 recommends. The redo of Mario 2 and Mario 3. They also got the redos of Mario World and Yoshi's Island, but for those 2, I prefer the Super Nintendo versions. But yeah, for Mario 2 and Mario 3, I definitely prefer the Game Boy Advance versions.
I will give them a try. I thought they were just like straight remakes, or like straight remakes with Yoshi coins, I think. But no, I didn't know that other.
No, you've got giant variants of vegetables. There's a new enemy in there as your World 3 boss.
Wow.
Yeah, so you gotta at least play through the World 3 because there is a new boss.
It'll be fun to revisit the old setting with some new changes.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's fun. It's but it's one where you'll see it and you'll get a chuckle out of it.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Oh.
All right. Well, we didn't have anyone else hopping in, but that's fine. We had a good talk on Mario 2 on this one. Thanks for coming on.
It has been my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Hey, no problem. We will see you back in the future, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And episode 100 is coming up, right?
Yes, that one's going to be the listener special where from everyone.
Ooh, I get to ramble more.
Yep, you get to ramble more, and I get to take a break and just record an intro.
Everybody wins.
All right, well, thank you for coming, and we'll see you back on for 100.
Sounds good. Take care, buddy.
Yep, you too. Later. As always, thank you for checking out another episode of Afterglow. If you're looking for more stuff to listen to, please be sure to check out the show notes below. You will find a link tree that has links to many other friends of the show. All of them are definitely worth checking out and listening to. You'll also find links to our Patreon and our Discord. Coming soon will be the first episode of the Grim Glow podcast. Grim is working on getting all that edited up and ready to go. Along with all that, episode 100 of Afterglow is coming soon, and that will be the special episode where I am taking all of your guys' submissions and putting them into one big episode. So once again, if you're looking to get in on that, reach out to me, preferably on the Discord if you can get a hold of me on there, and we will get your segment on there. Other than that, thank you for listening, and please be sure to check out some of the friends of the show who's going to tell you about their work coming up right now.
For more than 15 years, Retro Gaming Roundup has been the centre of your retro gaming universe, with top 10s, interviews, game reviews, news, and much more from all over the globe. Be sure to tune in every month for a new dose of Retro Gaming Roundup. That's RetroGamingRoundup.com.
Hey, this is Toby, one half of the Secret Levels podcast. We're a podcast that goes over old retro games. We go over the history, the story, the gameplay, some fun facts. We even rage a little bit. And then we go and give it a nice 1 to 10 rating to let you know if it's still worth playing. We have over 200 reviews for games on the NES, the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and many other consoles. You can find us on all the major podcasting apps, such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and you can follow us on social media at Secret Levels Pod. Game over, folks.
Hello and welcome to the Reviews Brothers. It's me, Martin, and you can join me on YouTube where I have hundreds of videos covering a huge range of video game topics. I've got top 10s, hidden gems, console-focused A to Zs, as well as dedicated videos to topics like Doom mods, 3D platform games, ninja games, pirate games, and more. I cover all systems from Commodore 64 right up to modern consoles. Nothing gaming is off the table. So be sure to search for the Reviews Brothers on YouTube as well as on Instagram and TikTok for hundreds of retro and modern video game reviews.
Hey there, Afterglow gang. Keith Gasper here, the host of what I'm told is the #1 retro gaming podcast available on the internet, the Main Quest Podcast. The Main Quest is an ongoing project wherein I'm replaying the entire library of games that I grew up with, sharing my memories associated with those games, and deciding if that bit of media still holds up today. Every episode I am often, but not always, joined by a friend as we discuss the gameplay, presentation, and most importantly, where that game came from, who took part in its inception, and what kind of legacy it left behind, if any, because honestly, not every game can be Tetris. It's not enough to walk away from each episode having had fun, but hopefully, you also learned something about your favorite video game, or maybe even a game that you've never even heard of. So come on over, have a listen to the extensive backlog of Main Quest podcast, available of course on all major podcasting platforms, and look out for brand new episodes coming in 2025. And of course, hey, always remember, it's okay to like a video game.
Hello, my name is Aaron. I'm one half of SuperPod Saga, a topical variety video game podcast fueled entirely by nostalgia and unleaded gasoline. SuperPod Saga, we discuss a different video game topic each and every week. We have new episodes every single Monday covering a different video game topic. More than anything, we want to entertain our listeners and make you feel like you're one of the boys, like you're hanging out at a campfire with some of your best zany, caffeine-powered buddies and just talking about your favorite games and all that stuff. Stop on down to SuperPod Saga. It's on every podcatcher there is. If it's not, let me know and we'll get on it. But again, SuperPod Saga, stop on by.